Hey guys, it is Kat, and today's tutorial is on how to set up a basic resources mining setup in Factorio, assuming that you have no technology upgrades, no science labs, no nothing. This is a brand new load into a game. We'll be setting up mining on your three major resources, iron, coal, and copper, and be setting up an automatic processing system for that. In that process, we will also be setting up a self-sustaining power plant to help provide electricity for your mining devices, as well as technology later on in the game. This is a brand new load-in for me. I have not checked this map out yet at all, so not exactly sure what we're going to find. Looks like we've got some decent resources right here around the watering hole, but we'll have to see how everything kind of pans out as we go along. This map is, as I said before, a completely fresh login. The enemies are not set to passive, so we do stand the chance of getting attacked, but typically early on in the beginning they're pretty passive. I shouldn't say that. They're pretty scattered and not real aggressive to begin with. They're more focused on getting their own resources together, and typically will leave you alone, but we do risk the chance of getting attacked if we're not careful. So let's just get to this. The very first thing you're going to want to do is take some of the resources that you've got. It starts you out with 8 iron plates, 1 burner mining drill, and a stone furnace. And we're going to start producing some supplies. Shouldn't have knocked down that tree while we were there, but it was easy. It was one that was already kind of knocked over. But the first thing you should do pretty much any time you start out in the game is build yourself an axe. Mining regular resources without one is a very slow process, and we don't want to be dealing with that. So we are going to, let's see, I gotta find us some coal, if it's on the other side of the water. Okay, we are going to use wood to get started then, because I don't want to run all the way around just yet. A couple here. Alright, now that we've got some wood to actually make this stuff run, plop down our little burner here, and then we're going to put the furnace lined up exactly with its little output thing here so that it will feed directly into the furnace. You can shift right click to add half the stack. In this case we want to add all of it, but I wanted to go ahead and show that off. Now we've got some plates going. We're going to need some stone to make more of this whole process, so let's go ahead and get that going. One of the very first things I want to do is establish power to our little base here, because running everything off of coal is very slow. So I'm going to go ahead and get us quite a few pieces of stone here. 20 should start us off okay, I would think. There we go. And we're going to need 2 boilers and 2 furnaces. To be able to run the actual power lines, those require copper, so I'm going to go ahead and grab some of that. As you can see, even with the mining pick itself, it is a bit of a slow process. That's why you want to automate this stuff as quickly as possible. And we're going to need some fuel since the ore is on the other side. Pain to run over here, but we'll get it. Alright, I'm gonna run back up here because I like keeping everything concentrated. I'm just gonna plop down my other little furnace for now. Smelt up that copper. The other things we're gonna need for our power plant is one of these water pumps, which requires the electronic circuits. Those require copper. And then we're going to need one of these steam engines, which requires a bunch of iron. That's why we started the iron pretty quickly. Looks like we are out of fuel already, so let's go chop down a couple more trees. Starting out without coal is really inefficient, but running the coal all the way over right now is not even remotely possible, because it would take so much iron that it's just not practical. So what it is. if you bring up your map and zoom way in, all you can see on here are our resources. This light brown kind of tannish stuff is stone. The neon orange is copper, obviously. The kind of blue-gray is your iron. Black is coal. And this hot pink stuff is oil. So we got quite lucky. We've got 2 different little oil patches nearby. So that is useful. Enemies will show up as red on your map as you uncover them, but right now we don't have any because we haven't really gone exploring yet. So let's grab us that copper. I need some iron as well. It's also about ready to run out of wood. That's not happy. Alright, but we did get enough to get our powers plant going. I wonder if we can get it going right off this little sticky outy bit. So we're gonna put down the water pump first. Good grief, I can't talk. And then drop down our. It will not let us put it there. Actually, gonna go against what I said and add in another boiler. There we go. Now won't let us put it down. There it goes. It just needed that last little bit. Another tree or 2. Alright. We have the copper, now we just need some wood for those power poles since we keep feeding all of it to our actual furnace and stove. Hitting the iron, that's the high-pitched tink you hear. Go. Power poles. I just figured out I did myself not any favors. Okay, I'm gonna pull this back up. I will explain momentarily why I'm moving this. You get everything back when you pick it up, so it's not a big deal. Drop this right here. Drop this one right here. And drop our engine right there. The reason I am moving this is because I was on that little peninsula. The boilers didn't have any access to coal or other resources, so we were gonna have to feed it by hand. That's why I'm moving that. Put those 2 down for now, since I don't know exactly where I'm wanting to run this. And I built 3 burner arms. The reason I use burner arms is because they're going to be handling coal. They'll keep themselves filled up, so you don't need the electric ones. Now we're going to need lots and lots of iron plates. That's not going to be enough. It's a good start, but it's not enough. Get some coal. I don't want to keep dealing with wood being a sucky resource. And I broke my axe. Do I have enough? Nope, I don't even have enough iron on me to fix it. So I guess that limits how much we were going to get. I was going to get 10, but yay for running out of resources. Let's drop the coal in there and the wood there. The shape of this lake. It is a very bow-legged lake. I may actually pull the coal from way above us instead of wrapping around the lake. So let's do that. Put this bad boy right down in the middle. I don't have an axe. That's the whole point in coming over here. See, I get distracted easily. Five should be good for now. Toss that in. We're gonna need some wood for the actual poles. We don't need a whole bunch, just a couple. Let's start running our power up. As you can see as I'm running this, when the line disappears, it means you're out of range of the pole. So you can only go away 2. There we go. Our little guy has power, but as you can see, he's got the little red flashing thing. It's because our power system down here is not actually producing any power yet. Toss those in there. Now they will. As you can see, we are finally starting to get some coal down here. Grab a couple, toss them in the thingy. We will automate that here momentarily, but I wanted to get that going. Okay. While we wait for some more iron, because that's our biggest bottleneck in the beginning, is iron production, I'm going to go ahead and start gathering the resources for our central processing little station. Because the reality is the faster you produce and process ore, better. I'm going to mine myself to insanity here at 20 pieces of stone. And go ahead and cook up all of those into furnaces. And looking at what we've got resources wise, I think that building our little processing station here just south of the engine will work just fine. Place our furnaces out. They're gonna blink at you like they're all unhappy because they don't have any fuel for a little bit. That's fine. Not the end of the world at all. Go ahead and grab this one out of the way. We'll add it to our newfound thingy. Do we have enough for another electric yet? No, we are lacking in copper. So we're going to dig up 5. Okay, I lied. We're going to do 10 because I don't want to have to come back and get more in a minute. those in, toss the wood in, there we go. Oh my god, so needy. This will all be automated in another minute or two, so it's not the end of the world. There we go. I just need that steel to, or I guess it's not steel, iron. I need the iron so that I can run these belts all the way down. There we go. Get some belts going. And I know I just put a complete stop to our iron production. I'm not crazy. Now that one will feed itself. Go ahead and add this to the pile. Now can we make an electric one? No, because we're still missing a bunch of steel. Phooey. Okay. I could have routed the conveyor belt around it, but that's just lazy. And because we are running out of resources, I'm going to do this part by hand. Certainly don't have to. Silly not to, just to tweak this a little. We are going to need power down here, so we are going to create electric arms this time, because they will be processing more than coal. You could technically use the burner arms, but they're not as fast, so in this particular instance we're not going to. As these start processing, we'll be able to expand this still. I know this part's pretty boring to watch, so just waiting on stuff to cook, but we're almost there. Our system is fully loaded there. Now we need to get more resources coming in. The reason these aren't burning is because they're not receiving any ore. are going to need more copper to create the electrical circuits needed to make more of the miners. You will see that this very quickly becomes an efficient system. Let's grab one more. Now, something to note about conveyor belts while I'm standing here. Conveyor belts will always feed onto the side that they are feeding into. So for example, this one that is straight out feeds into this right-hand side only. It's the same with this particular one here. It is feeding directly onto the right-hand side of the belt. As you can see, the coal is ending up on this left-hand side. It's because it's feeding from the end. It will always feed to the side farthest from it. So if you think about like an arm shooting out from here, it's swinging all the way to the left. So it will always feed to the left. It means that we can use a single conveyor belt for both items here. So this particular system feeds the coal down the left-hand side, the ore down the right. The reason we're wanting to do that and keep them separate is because the ore is used at a much faster rate than the coal. If we were to have them mixed up, you'd end up with a bunch of coal backed up here, and the ore would stop making it to the furnaces. And then it does you no good. My pickaxe again. Let's see, do we have enough for an actual burner so I don't have to do it by hand? Because I am missing the iron. That I can solve. There we go. Another burner. I shouldn't call these burners, they're not. They're electric mining drills. There we go. As you can see, this light green, I'm going to stick it out here in the dirt for a minute. This light green box around the mining drill, that's the actual reach that it has. So it's actually mining the area underneath that entire green square. Drop that down. We are going to need a couple power poles. I think I need to get a piece of wood here. And then, since it's nearby, we can just drop this right there. Grab us some more iron because we're going to need the conveyor belts. And this one we're going to run out here and to its left. We want to make sure that we connect to the conveyor belt on this right hand side so that it joins the iron ore. There we go. So now we have both iron and copper ore moving onto the right hand side of the conveyor belt, and we have coal on the left hand side of the conveyor belt feeding this entire system. This system is powered by the steam engine and the 3 boilers right here on the left hand side, grabbing the coal first. Now the last thing we need to do to finish up this very simple little system is get all of the items out of these furnaces and into a central location, so you're not having to open 6, or as you expand this out, a dozen furnaces every time you need an item. So let's go ahead and make ourselves some more arms. I need some resources here. What am I missing? Oops, I am going to drop this. Right off in here. Grab these last bits of resources. This is the last time we'll need to do this. Should be enough to let us get going here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to need 6 arms all together. I think I just clicked through for 5. Nope, my instinct was right. I made 6 without even counting. Good job, me. Never get that lucky. I'm always off by 1. Okay, now this time, because we are unloading, we want to load to the right-hand side. I'm going to end up moving that power pole here momentarily because it is in our way. That's alright, we can move it. Not a big deal. Our whole little system's gonna freak out because it thinks it doesn't have power. That's okay. I'm gonna put one right here. And a couple more. I guess it's wood. Nope, I've got enough wood. I just need to make them. This is a very inefficient use of the power poles. As you can see, we've got a ton of overlap. That's fine. When we get the more efficient power poles, we will be making that a lot cleaner. But for now, coverage is more important than anything else. So this one we're going to run this way. Because it's feeding from the right, it will not pull off this conveyor belt. If you wanted to pull off the conveyor belt, you'd have to use an arm or a splitter. So we're safe to put it right up against that. We're going to run that out a little bit further. I'm actually going to run it out even a little bit more, because we will be expanding this in another video. We just gotta wait for them to be made. I probably could have done less than that, but that's alright. You guys don't mind waiting an extra 30 seconds or so. I hope not. Anyway, there we go. Starting to cook up here. Run this way out of the way. There's a tree on our way. Bye-bye, tree. Just gonna run it to the other side of this little mine into this clearing. Alright, we need a couple arms, so let's pick up some of those resources. We need a couple boxes. I'm going to run the electricity for this. Just going as far as it will let us here. As you can see, when you reach the maximum range, the little line drops off. So you know when you've gone too far. Oh, that'll do. And we're just gonna offload there to these two boxes. Alright, just as a quick recap, we have copper production, iron production, and coal production all being fed into this little central processing system and then being offloaded into a central line that then feeds the completed ore into these boxes for easy use. The power production is self-sustaining over here thanks to the coal running past these little arms. You can expand this system as far as you'd like. The main thing that we didn't do in this particular video is tackle the stone production. We really don't need to deal with that now. You don't use refined stone for a long period of time in this game. So the few times you need stone, mining 5 to 10 at a time is not the end of the world. You can make that a bit more of an efficient system later on with some more advanced technology. So we're just going to leave that alone for now. But as you can see, it's really not that complicated to build up a system. As you expand this, all you have to do is add more mining devices, your drills along here. I can actually show you one of those really, really quick. Give you a little bit of a sneaky peek, and then we will be all set for this particular instance. The reason this one is still running, they're typically not very efficient, and I get rid of them when I can start making drills on a consistent basis. So we'll go ahead and chop this out. We're going to rotate this. Now, thanks to that power pole being there, makes it a challenge. Oops, we've still got the little arm left. Let me get that out of the way. I like to, because this is a pretty rich node, I'm going to go ahead and let these overlap. If you're in a very spread out node, but these look really sparse, meaning that the node is not very rich, you would want to spread these out so it lasts longer. But because we have a very awesome map with a huge iron production around here, we're not going to worry about that so much, and we want sheer output. So I'm going to go ahead and bump them right up against each other. You cannot stand underneath it when you drop it though, which is why it was red. There you go. And we would just continue to expand these out, expand the copper ones out as well. And this ups your resources pretty quickly. As you start adding more and more resources, you would obviously need to add more and more furnaces. I will do a later video, probably 4 videos or so away, on how to expand this into a processing center that is multiple layers tall for processing steel and other items such as the mechanical wheels and the copper coils and all of that. But we will get into that as we start getting into the next video, which is the scientific research. But this gets you going on a very basic system that automates all of this for you. I hope you guys have liked this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you like where I'm headed with these, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate all of your support. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you. Bye-bye.